Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to be talking about these Ohuhu markers. I've had these for just over a month and I really like them, and I thought I would talk you through what they are, how I'm using them, the cost of them, what I think of them, etc., how they work. So yeah, they came in this lovely little bag with a zip around it. So I ordered these from Amazon on July 5th 2022. They were £31.99 and they came pretty quickly. This is a set of 48 plus there's one colourless blender. You also get this little booklet that talks you through what Ohuhu is and the different options that you have for the Ohuhu markers. So these ones are the Honolulu chisel and brush, alcohol based and 48 set. You also get these little swatch cards. Some of the colours of the lids are different to how they come out in real life. You can see with that one actually. RP1 is a lot more of a lighter vibrant pink that it actually comes out on the card, and even in person this colour looks different to what it does on camera. So yeah, that's quite handy to have that, and I keep that in the bag at all times and I use it quite often to pick what colours. And you also get a plastic sheet because alcohol markers do go through the paper to the other side. And it says on it, if you are colouring on thin paper, please put this pad between colouring sheets to prevent any bleed through, but I use it for any thickness of paper because it does just go through. I'll show you what these look like inside. So this is the colourless blender, and you've got a brush tip on one end. And this blender I use mostly now for when I make mistakes, so you can sort of push the colour back to where it should be. I haven't got it down to a fine art. Oh, disclaimer, I am a beginner. These are the only alcohol markers I have ever used, so I don't have anything to compare them to, and yeah, I'm just not an expert, so this is the opinion of a beginner on what these are like. So that's the brush end, and then all the brush ends are identified by this grey ring around it, and then the other end I've got the chisel tip. This I guess is useful for colouring in larger blocks of colour. I don't use the chisel tip that often. I find that it's harder to use. So there's a lovely range of colours in the set of 48, and I have been using mostly the greens, yellows, a little bit of red, quite a lot of blue. Yeah, I haven't used the black. I guess I don't feel like there's much need to because I use fine line pens if I'm doing anything in black. So with these colours you can actually blend them. I blend the yellows together quite often. This is like a colour combination that I quite like for using for sky at the moment. Really, you should put down darker colour first and then use the lighter colour to blend them together. Like so. You can layer up the colours, and I think the more you layer them up the smoother the appearance is. So you can see there's less colouring in marks there, but if I just colour in a bit like that you can see the brush strokes there. So it's taken a bit of getting used to working out how to use them. I've done quite a few pieces using these now and I'm still kind of finding my way with them. I'll show you what using the chisel tip is like. It's harder to blend it in, you have to go over it a bit more to get that smoother appearance. So yeah, you can see the line between, but I don't know, when I'm sitting down sometimes I get the wrong angle and then I only get half the sort of surface area. So yeah, I don't find the chisel tip as easy to use, so I think perhaps getting the brush with the finer tip might be a better idea because then you can do like fine lines and stuff with it. So yeah, Honolulu comes with a fine and brush tip one, so I'd probably go with that one if I was to do it again. But I think I would quite like to try some watercolor markers next. So this piece I created using the Ohuhu markers. So we've got a really nice bright vibrant pink there, and I've used, so this, to get this like darker effect, I just layered up the same colour. I haven't actually used a darker colour yellow to do that. So yeah, you can layer them up to create darker effects. You can use different things on them. So this white is Posca pen, which does work on it, but you have to make sure that the Ohuhu markers are completely dry before you go using anything else on top, because I kind of ruined my yellow Posca marker by doing that on top of my Ohuhu markers. Alcohol ink like transferred onto my Posca pen, so that was kind of annoying. Took a bit of using to get rid of that from my yellow Posca pen. This is another piece I've done done using the Ohuhu markers, and as you can see I haven't been over it too many times, so you can see the lines of where I've used the brush. I kind of like the effect, it kind of looks a little bit watery, but yeah, I quite like doing outline pieces, fine line, I don't know the words for this stuff. Doing like a black outline to stuff and then colouring it in works quite well. Yeah, so I tried to add a little bit of shading by going over it. I don't know, this one isn't great. This piece uses the Ohuhu markers, and then I've gone over the top with pencil to add the detail, which I think works quite well. The only thing is the pencils that I have are quite hard, so it's quite hard to get them to show up on top of stuff. But you also have to be aware that as you colour and then as it dries, it starts to change a bit. So as you're kind of blending in, you think, is this blending well? But by the time it dries, it does look a lot smoother. So yeah, just bear that in mind if you're using them. Yeah, I think adding the pencil over works well, as does the Posca, adding that on top. Just thought I'd show you some of these pieces that I've been doing in my sketchbook. So I started adding some colour pieces in. Yeah, so this is another one using that yellowy gradient for the sky, and you can see some of the marks. I kind of like having that little bit of texture in there, to be honest, on some things, because obviously like grass isn't completely flat smooth. Yeah, I guess I could go over it, but I'm just kind of impatient with waiting for things to dry. I think it'd probably be best if you wait for it to dry. But this is an example of how it looks on the back. So I was using the plastic sheet the whole time that I was doing these pieces, because it does come through and you can't use the back really. So this is another one. And yeah, excuse the ugly chin and arseless girl there. Yeah, I'm practicing drawing my people, but it's not going great. This one I deliberately was trying to create the line effect with the pens, which kind of works. And you can layer the colours on top of each other as well. So yeah, this is another water piece. So the white is Posca, but the rest of this is the Ohuhu markers, again using a fine liner pen. Yeah, just kind of showing you like how vibrant the colours are. The colours are so bright. This one didn't work out that well. This is supposed to be 3 gradients, so yeah, you can kind of see the lighter blue there into the darker blue, and then lighter yellow into the darker yellow, and it's hard to even tell. Yeah, this one didn't blend so well. I was obviously in a bit of a hurry with that one. Yeah, and then there's some of the darker colours. This cute little guy, and then this one was a little bit different. I wanted to go for a looser style and like leave the white showing through in the background, and I quite like it. So you can use these in different ways, different styles. I love these ones. I think that's so bright and vibrant, and yeah, it just looks so cool. So yeah, this is the piece that I created in the last video you watched. So obviously with this one I used Ohuhu markers in the background and then oil pastels on top, which works quite well. And I did that so that I could get where I layered up the oil pastels and then scratched away, I could get the Ohuhu colours showing through in the background. It was also quite a nice base to just add on top of. So yeah, it works with oil pastels and pencils and Posca pens, but you just gotta make sure it's like dry so that you don't start blending and blurring things together. But yeah, this is on an A6 postcard, which is kind of thick, so yeah, it's still showing through there. I just thought I'd show you some of my experiments in this sketchbook as well, because these are some of my early experiments with the Ohuhu markers. So this is me like playing around with blending different colours. So there's some colours that really don't work that well together. I think you've got to use colours that are really similar in value. So for example, so the two close together there, those work quite well. It's quite hard to see, like to distinguish between them once they're blended in, so that's quite good. And then I think, yeah, GY4 and GY3, they blend quite well together because they're quite similar in value, but if you go vastly different, it's quite hard. So I would imagine like a really dark colour like that with a really light colour like that wouldn't work so well. These kind of marigold, like dark yellow colours look a bit gross, and like blending sometimes like doesn't look great as well. Just kind of, I don't know if there's an example of it, but oh yeah, here's an example of using colours that aren't like similar in value on top of each other, and it just looks a bit gross. This is obviously just a bit of an experimentation. Here's an example of using the chisel tip and how the lines like still show up of where you've used it. It's not very, I mean, this piece was just a scribble really, just to practice. And as you build up the layers of the markers, the colours do get darker and darker and darker. So this one I was layering up quite a lot to try and get some kind of effect. I don't really know what I was trying to do there, but it didn't work out that well. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you do get these, having a play around with the different colours, and as you're creating a piece, to make sure that the colours that you want to use together do blend well together. To start with, I didn't know what the colourless blender did, so I was kind of using that to try and blend stuff together, but I don't think that's how you're supposed to use it. I think you're literally supposed to use it to erase stuff, but I could be wrong. I haven't really properly read up on it. It was just something that I saw someone sharing. So yeah, some tulips and bits and bobs, practicing like blending stuff in together and then kind of leaving it a bit here. Yeah, I kind of like this poppy, so like in the background some of it's blended, and then just adding the darker colours on top work kind of well. Oh yeah, practicing doing a tree, oh god. So yeah, practicing doing a tree, so this is all Ohuhu markers, so some of it obviously I'm just kind of being a bit looser with that, and I was just basically practicing like getting the shadows and shading and stuff. So these bits I blended in a little bit more, but this is just kind of layering bits and bobs on top of each other. And yeah, obviously this is all very messy. Oh, this one is me using gouache paint over the top. So the gouache paint, I'll probably do a little review of the paint that I've got, but it's like super cheap and probably not light fast or anything like that, as someone pointed out to me in the comments of one of my other videos, so thank you for that. I will be at some point investing in some better gouache paint, but yeah, I just used the gouache over the top. And it's quite nice to have the different textures, but I ended up really just covering up what I had already done with gouache paint. So yeah, but that's an example of those used together. I love this blue. This is such a nice vibrant blue, and actually these kind of, it's nice to have this like sea turquoisey kind of colours work quite well for the river. So yes, did that. That's pencil, that's Posca. Where's some more? Oh yeah, some more experiments with blending. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. So where I've tried to blend like a really dark orange with this much lighter yellow, it's kind of, what would I call that, like dappled? It's just made this odd kind of bleeding effect that isn't quite a blending effect. So yeah, you have to be quite careful with what colours you're using to blend together. So it worked a little bit better there, but I don't know, it's quite odd. You just have to experiment a bit. I guess that's like me just being a beginner and not knowing like how these work properly. Oh, this is an Ohuhu piece. So in the background I've done those blocks of colour using Ohuhu and then gone over the top using oil pastel. It makes quite a nice, bright, vibrant piece. So yeah, hopefully that was a nice quick introduction to the Ohuhu markers and how I've been using them and what I think of them. I really like using them to start off with. I wasn't getting the hang of them, didn't like the blending, didn't know how to use this colourless guy, and just wasn't really sure. But I kept at it, kept practicing, and obviously with my daily art challenge I've got to do something pretty much daily. So the practice is helping, and I've created some pieces that I really do love with these, particularly the like water swimming pool pieces I really like. Just I love the vibrancy of the colours, and I really like my oil pastels that are really bright as well, so using those together has been quite fun. But yeah, I hope that's been interesting, and if you're thinking about getting the Ohuhu markers, I mean, I like them. I think everyone in the professional sort of arty world uses Copic markers, or quite a lot of people use Copic markers, and they are extortionate. But I watched Jazza doing a video where he compared like all the art markers that are like this, and the top two were Copic and these. So I got these and I like them. So yeah, I would recommend them. It depends on your art style as well, I guess, whether you think it would fit in with the type of stuff that you're creating. But yeah, it's worth a go. They're not too expensive, £31 or £32 basically for 48 plus the colourless marker is not too bad compared to a lot of the other art materials I'm looking at investing in that are so expensive to get really good quality stuff. So yeah, these are really good quality in my experience as a beginner, not having anything to compare them to. But yeah, so that's those. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you would like me to review any of the other art materials that I'm using currently, and if you have any other questions about these, I'll do my best to answer them if you leave that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!